There's exciting news. The Army just released a new version of the Leader Development Improvement Guide. For close to 30 years, there's been a call for the U.S. Army to produce good quality supporting materials for the concept of self-development. I remember reading in my research an article all the way back from 2006 from Lieutenant Colonel Thompson demanding that the Army invest more in supporting the theory and practice of self-development. This guide, which is actually the second edition of this guide, the first one being produced in 2014, makes a serious attempt at providing the materials that truly support the concept of self-development within the Army. This is a great resource that I encourage every soldier to engage with. This guide can be used by soldiers of any rank and in any position inside the Army. It's a great resource in finding weaknesses, developing approaches to addressing that weakness, and tracking your progress through self-development. Unlike other publications made by the Army, this Leader Development Improvement Guide can truly be used through several iterations and can support lifelong learning and self-development throughout a military career. Please don't confuse this with the 2012 Army Handbook for Self-Development, a resource that's practical for one iteration of self-development, but after you complete the manual, it really doesn't help you down the road. In the Leader Development Improvement Guide, the Army attempts to connect self-development practices for each of the Army leadership dimensions found within the Army Leader's Requirement Model. This reminds me very much of my own doctoral research that I conducted in 2015, attempting to write a manual of practical self-development materials. Unfortunately, my research failed because my research participants, made up of current and former senior ROTC cadre, didn't have a unified concept of self-development. While I believe the Army still has a significant way to go in defining and supporting the concept of self-development, I believe this truly is a step in the right direction. I also believe it's important to understand my attempt to create a manual failed because the concept of self-development, while maybe understood at the center of Army leadership, is yet to be understood by the field. For those of you interested in knowing the practical self-development techniques discovered by my research, I'll leave a link to a video at the end. My research is also available on ProQuest or through Amazon. Again, I encourage you to always push self-development for yourself and for your soldiers. Spread the word and get the news out that a new manual is here to help the Army self-develop and self-direct their own learning. Let's do our best to let soldiers of every rank and level know a new resource is available to help with their self-development. Thank you for watching this video. I invite you to subscribe to the Evolving Warfighter for more videos on the topic of Army self-development. For those of you wishing to know the practical suggestions for self-development that came out of my research, you can find the video here. Until next time, focus on your self-development so we can ensure that we have the skills and knowledge that dominate the modern battlefield.